Welcome to the Seller Roundtable e-commerce coaching and business strategies with Andy Arnott and Amy Wees.
Seller Roundtable number 38 with Dana Derricks. Dana, thank you so much for being on today. And we're going to be talking about doing some copywriting. Dana, welcome.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, man. Super excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Dana pinged me a few days ago, and I haven't talked to him in ages. And he's like, "Hey, man, let's do something." And I was like, "Hey, this podcast is fairly new. Last time I talked to him, we didn't have this spun up yet. So I was like, "Hey, come on the podcast, then we'll talk business after that." So thanks a lot, Dana. I appreciate you being on. I know that you're going to bring a ton of value. I don't know if you know much about my partner Amy, but she's kind of the took my my SEO mastery and created her own mastery. She's kind of combined copywriting with SEO, better than a lot of people I've seen out there. So I'm a little sad that she's not here to talk shop with you as well, because she'd probably pepper you with some good stuff as well. But I'm excited to pick your brain on the copywriting side. For me, I'm pretty decent with the SEO side of things, but the copywriting thing has never been my strong suit. It's always something that I kind of have to cobble in with my SEO, and it's probably the opposite for you. It's kind of like figuring out how to make those two work together, which is a challenge in itself. So maybe if we put our heads together, we can come up with the perfect output there. First of all, let's get to know you a little bit better. Tell us, where you're born, where you live now, past jobs, college, school. Just get to know you.
Yeah. So long story short, I'm born and raised in Wisconsin, in a small, tiny town. I stuck around all these years. My graduating class was 30. 30, like the whole class. And so anyway, long story short, fast forward, I was an entrepreneur my whole life. Like a penguin walking around with walruses is what it kind of felt like looking back. So I went to school, found out I went to a school just across the river from you, where you went to college, in Grand Forks, Crookston, North Dakota, Minnesota area, which is really cold. But we've made it. And since I have settled down in Northwest Wisconsin in a tiny town, I've got goats outside. I'm at home right now, not at my office, but my office is in a town of 1,000. It's a digital marketing company trapped in a farm like town. So it's pretty interesting. I've got a huge goat on the side of my building. Everyone wonders why and what that's all about. But I just try to keep it as awesome as possible here, and keep the farming tradition alive while we do some cool copywriting and Amazon stuff.
Yeah, that's epic. I love that. It's the Midwest is a whole nother beast when it comes to weather, and people always thought I was crazy to go from Hawaii to the Midwest, but I really enjoyed it. Like we talked a little bit about before we started. Great people, and because it's so cold outside, there are always people getting together, parties, a lot of social in that sense, because you can't go outside, so you have to bring people. Hey, come over tonight. We're gonna do this, or go out to the bars, or whatever it was that we were doing. But I always really enjoyed that. I thought that was a lot of fun. I don't necessarily miss the weather, but I also thought, it was a decent trade-off for what you got. I definitely miss the cost of living there, and the home prices and things like that. I keep telling my wife, hey, if we sold here and moved to the Midwest, we could, buy with cash and we could retire today, But anyway, fantastic. So Dana, when did you first kind of start dabbling on Amazon?
Yeah. So actually kind of stumbled into Amazon by mistake. So I've got a history as an entrepreneurial kid. I never had a job ever. I was self-employed, even through college, just scraping by at times. But so I have it started off with selling stuff on eBay. So I was very familiar with eBay, and the reason that I guess became a copywriter without even knowing it was, especially back when I was a kid, long time ago, the way to win on eBay was really to just have a better written listing than everybody else. And still to this day, there's some truth to that, but especially back then. Then doing things like Craigslist, which is classified ads for those that are not familiar. But same thing, just writing better. And so I did copywriting for a while back in college. Was doing freelance copywriting, and then I actually stumbled. It was such a crazy, cool thing. So I was all over the board working with dentists one day, car dealers the next, like just trying to get by. And then I started working with this guy that was selling supplements on Amazon. And it was my first client that was selling on Amazon. And I was like, sure, I'll take the project. I need the money. Kind of figuring out as I go. And pretty soon, I like realized how much like my copywriting skills for everything else was applicable to Amazon. And I just kind of thought about how to format it and how to like bring that stuff over. And that first client of mine, I helped him go from $50K a month on his best performing listing to over $2 million a month within 6 months. And right then and there, I'm like, okay, first of all, I should probably do that some more and charge a lot more for other clients. And also, I should really look into selling on Amazon, because if that dude's making $2 million a month on one product, I'm in the wrong business. So that's how I kind of stumbled and mistakenly found Amazon from a selling standpoint.
Yeah, it's funny. There's a lot of people that I know that are, have a either like programming background, marketing background, something like that. And kind of the same story where they have a client that they do some Amazon work for and they're going, holy smokes, like there's some real money to be made on Amazon. And that's why I think today it's, so many people are getting into it. Unfortunately, the barriers to entry are bigger, all the time, especially, this past month, we've been seeing a lot of changes in the layouts of search results. Amazon, pushing people really hard away from organic more towards PPC, things like that. So the game's changing on Amazon. And, I think I wrote a post about a year ago today that said like, anybody who's not selling over $1 million per year on Amazon, it's going to be a really, really difficult space to get into, because big brands are finally starting to realize that, that there's some real big money to be made on Amazon. And then not only that, but Amazon, pushing its own private label brands. That being said, there's still a lot of sellers that, don't go the extra mile, whether it's, crafting a good listing, having good photographs, SEO, as we always tell everyone, and Dana, I'm sure you preach this all the time too. If you don't have a good listing, you might as well give up on Amazon. It's kind of the foundation to success on Amazon. I always tell everybody, your listing, optimizing your listing and writing your listing should be like your number one time consumer when it comes to working on Amazon. So we got some background. Now let's get into a little bit of the nuts and bolts here. So what do you see as like one of the biggest roadblocks for people writing a good listing on Amazon in terms of, getting people to convert, with organic sales and things like that?
So you already hit it on the head. Like, there's not a misconception in how I think pretty much everybody that knows what they're talking about will attest to the value of having an optimized listing. Now, the problem is that not all people or people that train this are created equally. So in my career, of the 1,000+ sellers I've worked with one-on-one, I can only count a handful of times where somebody came to me that hadn't already spent money on someone else that claimed to be an expert that wasn't, or they tried to do it themselves by following the directions of someone that wasn't an expert. And they were in a worse position than if they had just come to me from the beginning. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest, I would say the biggest roadblocks for optimizing a listing and having a really, really solid listing is just following the, bad information that's out there, or trusting the people that really aren't experts. And I think that a lot of people out there think they have optimized listings, and then a month later they realize like their sales didn't go up. And it's just really unfortunate. I think that's truly the biggest roadblock for Amazon sellers.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So what do you think are some essential things that need to be in place in order to write a good listing? So in other words, do you have kind of a, best practices or, a process that you have written for yourself or your clients that you kind of go through in order to get to that end product that you would consider, a workable listing?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been doing this a long time, almost 10 years. So there's a lot that goes into it detail wise, but I can give some, I guess, general best practices when it comes to actually optimizing your listing. So first and foremost is what Andy brought up at the beginning. And I believe you and Amy, are the dream team that put your brains together. So that is the equation to doing well on Amazon or to have an optimized listing is you have to have SEO because you have to have eyeballs. Okay. SEO and PPC work together, which you guys know, but you also have to have conversions. Okay. So SEO plus conversions, putting that together is the definition of success on or having an optimized listing. So with that being said, a lot of times the problem will be you'll have someone that wants to go in and SEO the listing, which is great. It gets eyeballs. However, the eyeballs don't convert. So it's like, cool, I have all this traffic, but my conversion rate is terrible. Or on the flip side, you get a person that's a copywriter only, and they go in and they copyright it, and they don't know the SEO side of it. And then it's like, okay, cool, like my conversion rate's over 20%, but like I have no traffic. I'm not in any of the search results. Cool. So it's pairing those two together, and that's where I think that's why I say it comes with experience, and not very many people know how to do that. But that's one piece of the like equation zooming out. Another piece is like practical nugget here. Just use all the space that's available. Off the top of my head, that's like 199 characters in the title, 249 characters per bullet point, 1,749 characters per on the description. Use it all. It's like having a billboard on the side of the highway and only using a third of the space. Like use the whole billboard, right? Get everyone's attention. Get as much copy in there as you can. And then lastly, so whether you're beginning or you're a seasoned vet in Amazon, it's a good practice to audit your listing. Okay, so like when you start out, here's another thing. Keywords are extremely important, and Andy, I'm sure you could go in a huge rabbit hole on that. And so when you're starting out a fresh listing, like don't go after the keywords that are like really high level. Like go after some long tail ones. And then after there's some traction, here's the cool thing. Peel off a layer. So audit your listing. Like audit all your listings once every 2 weeks, whatever you want to do. Once you have traction, like don't erase the keywords that are working, but like, take a little piece off of the tail and make it, more higher search volume versus like if you already have a listing that's already doing okay, like go and add some higher level keywords. That's the time to do it. So those would be, I guess, the three like best practices for just scratching the surface, but
Yeah, absolutely. You made a lot of good points there. One of the things that we love to do, and the point that you made that we always try to drive home is, people always try to go for those main keywords right away, and that's a losing battle. You should be kind of doing the opposite of that. You want to go for, like we always say, mid-tail keywords, not the top three. Like if you were to pull up the Amazon autocomplete, you don't want to go for the top three. You want to go for like 4 and 5 when you start out. But the other thing that a lot of people don't realize, which is, kind of a trick that we use, and I'm sure these days a lot of people are using this, is you want to pick your main root keyword. So a water bottle is always our favorite example. So if water bottle is your keyword, that's your root keyword. That's not what you want to try to target when you're out the gate. You want to target something like dual insulated water bottle, or water bottle for cyclists or something like that. But you do want to have that root keyword, which is going to get you the most volume in your supporting keywords. So usually what we'll do is we'll take our root keyword, and then we'll make it a long tail by adding keywords in front and behind that main root keyword. And what that does is every time you convert for those long tail keywords, you're also getting a little bit of juice for that root keyword. And because you're getting that root keyword in multiple keywords, mid to long tail keywords, Amazon's going, oh, well, these keywords are repeating every time this person converts on this product, or this product converts. So we're going to give, a little more rank juice to those root keywords. So that's a great tip, Dana, in terms of, really getting your listing to be seen. I call it the upside down pyramid. I don't know if that's the best analogy, but that's what I thought of when I tell people about this. Instead of going for the top of the pyramid at first, you want to go for the bottom and work your way up. So so that's kind of, and that would be in terms of volume, of course, people. But so how are you, Dana, how are you taking on, like, kind of what's the process when somebody comes to you to take on a new client? What kind of research, like what are you doing to prep to write for that listing?
All right, everybody, if you don't I guess understand the evil genius that Andy is, this guy knows his stuff. You're an SEO guy, man. That was impressive. Bravo. That was a really good nugget for everybody. I hope that didn't gloss over. So get your pens out, everybody. That was good. All right. So the process, man, there's so many gory details, but I'll try to keep it high level. So a lot of what we do is research. Like 80% of us preparing a listing and optimizing listing for clients or our own is research. And the majority of that has to do with understanding the shortfalls of our competitors. So when it comes to zooming way out here, traffic, everybody has a temperature of traffic, and ice cold traffic doesn't understand that there's a solution, and they are just figuring out that they have a problem. So it's like a person that's overweight and they can't fit into their pants anymore. They're really cold. They're not on Amazon searching for a solution yet. Amazon traffic, however, is very hot. It's very warm and hot. So it's the person that several months ago couldn't fit into their jeans, and they're finally so fed up, and they tried a gym membership and failed. Now they're on Amazon searching Garcinia Cambogia. That is red hot. They're ready to buy. So we want to give them reasons to buy our Garcinia Cambogia over everybody else's. So that's where the research comes in, and we can find the shortfalls and the leverage points on our listings as opposed to everybody else's. When a lot of times, people talk about the features versus benefits thing, but at the end of the day, what is going to get someone to buy on Amazon is that your option is better than the other options. It's not a matter of you have the benefit that they're seeking, because everybody else does. They've perceived that. Because again, between the time that your pants don't fit and you're on Amazon searching Garcinia Cambogia, somewhere you watched the doctor's show episode and they raved about Garcinia. So you already know the benefits it's going to do. Now you just want to go find the best deal, the most potent, the safest, the cheapest, et cetera, et cetera. So I guess, wish I could talk all night with you, but that is just generally speaking, the bulk of the research we do prior to even preparing a listing.
Right. So what you're saying there is maximum value for the best price. Because especially now in a marketplace like Amazon, everything's a lot of things are commoditized now. So to really stand out, you either have to have something completely unique that you invented, or if you're gonna sell something that's commoditized, you need to really be able to stand out, not only with good copywriting and PPC and SEO and all those kinds of things, but actually having a good product with good reviews that people want to talk about.
Thanks for tuning in. Join us every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for live Q&A and bonus content after the recording at sellerroundtable.com. Sponsored by the ultimate software tool for Amazon sales and growth, sellerseo.com and amazingathome.com.